Hey there, Dr. Veit Schenk here with the next section, which is all about off-page optimization. So in the old days, all you needed to do was get lots of links from other sites to point to your site, and that was it. Okay, remember from the one of the first segments there, more links, especially from high-quality sites, means you get a high page rank, and high page rank typically used to be the ticket to higher rankings. All right. So over time, now Google have then started discounting certain types of backlinks. For example, if you left, or the only source for backlinks you got was from forums, you can, for example, I'll show you an example here, answeranimal.com, all right? That's a site where you can create a profile, and then in your profile, you leave a backlink to your website. And that used to work, and you could buy software that gave you thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of these forum profiles or profile backlinks. This no longer works. Google quickly caught on, okay, a link from a profile back to your website isn't really very indicative of high quality or relevance. So they kind of discounted that kind of thing. So the next thing that happened was over time, people looked at, for example, articles. Because one of the big things what was happening with the forums was if you have a profile where it says, I like this forum, and then there's a backlink to your website, that was not really in context. There was no context for Google to deduce that this is genuinely an article about, for example, RV financing. So what people did then was start writing articles and submit them to various places where they have an article about RV financing, and in that article, at the end of that article, they have a link to your website. So Google can tell from the context that this is a link that is in context of talking about the topic of RV financing, and therefore this is probably worth more than a link from a site where there's no context whatsoever. So if we now look at, this is a site called eZine Articles. They used to be very, very powerful in terms of backlinks you're getting. And then Google at some point decided, okay, we've had enough. People are basically spamming us by putting content in here purely to get a backlink. So that's not very good. And I haven't done this. RV financing. Let's have a look in eZine Articles. Let's do a quick search for RV financing. Alrighty. Lots of articles here. For example, frequently asked questions. Okay, in 2007, this totally worked. It was wonderful. So here's an article about RV financing, and then at the end, usually what you get is there you go. So there is a link to the site RV Education 101. Okay, you could even have links that had a keyword in it. So you could have had a link that where all it says, for more information on RV financing. So all this blue thing would be RV financing. That's kind of gone now, but in the old days that was certainly possible. Let's maybe look at one more. Maybe if we find another old article, 2011, 2006 here, maybe they have a good link in there to illustrate what that looks like. Here, there you go. Okay. So for more information about RV financing, and if you look down here, that's where the URL appears. Okay, so there's a link to lowrvfinancing.com, and the anchor text is RV financing. What people used to do in the old days was basically have tons and tons of these types of links. They all said RV financing, and they all point to the homepage. Okay, I've shown you earlier, that's bad news. More than 10% all pointing to the same page, bad news. More than 10% using the same anchor word, again, bad news. So these days, because it's all unnatural, that's what people don't do, okay? If we use the example of, was it Adobe Acrobat? Hardly anyone, or not everyone writes get Adobe Acrobat here. Or, Adobe Acrobat, everyone writes something else. If you want Adobe Acrobat, here's the Adobe Acrobat reader. Go to Adobe, that kind of thing. So everyone uses something else, and that's exactly what you need to do when you're creating backlinks. Of course, only the good quality, and we'll get to that in a second. Alrighty, so that's another example of articles, and there was all kinds of software you could use to get tons and tons of articles out there on various websites. There's also the concept of duplicate content, and we'll get back to that in a second. I want to show you another one, and that's comment. Okay, comments have almost descended into comment spam. And I'm showing you a couple of examples from my own site here, Online Rule. Here, someone wants a backlink to something called SEOsolutions.info. So they're writing all kinds of stuff here. Hello, web admin, I'm noticed, yes, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, right? And at the end, Look at this. There is a link to SEO solutions. If you look at the bottom left now, SEO-solutions.info, and the text they're using is SEO plugin. Well, this is bad because that is over-optimized if they're doing it all over the place. I'm obviously not going to approve this comment because it's clearly spam. It doesn't contribute to the conversation on my blog, therefore it never gets in. However, there are blogs out there that auto-approve comments. There are even plugins that let you do this. They're called comment love or keyword love. Don't use them. You don't want to have spam on your website, because when Google sees that you've got spammy backlinks or spammy links to other spammy sites, they kind of drag down your site as well. So very, very important. Do not link to other sites that are spammy. And that's why you never ever want to approve spammy comments here. Check this out here. Now, that is the ultimate spam comment. Gentlemen, check discount, Calmagra, Aura Jelly, USA, blah, 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 blah. All these keywords they're trying to optimize for on various sites. This is most likely generated by a computer program, not even a human being. And it is all spam. Casinos, Calmagra sounds a little bit like Viagra, Pharma, all that kind of thing. Very, very spammy. Discounts. Don't do this kind of stuff. And that is pretty much it in terms of backlinking, okay? I could go into great detail how to set them up in practice, etc. I think it's far more important to understand that you do not want to set up artificially lots of backlinks. And there are different ways of doing this, and I'll give you a couple of examples in a minute, what they look like. And some people then go, well, obviously you don't want to point back straight to your page. We'll use some buffer sites or pyramids and all that kind of stuff. I'll show you a couple of examples in a minute, but for now, all you need to know is you can get backlinks, and people started doing silly things like forum profiles. Don't do that. It's spammy and it doesn't contribute. The important thing I wanted to show you here was the part of context. Okay, that backlink at least is in the context of an article that is about RV financing. So if anything, if it carries any weight with Google, then it carries more than something that's on a random page where there's no text around it. And if you now had a website, Ezen Articles is all about articles from various places. If you now had a website that is all about RV financing, and you have an article about RV financing, and then there's a link to your site, which is also all about RV financing and nothing else. Now that is a link worth having. If it's from a site that has lots of different topics, not so good. If it's tons of different topics and there's not even any context, that's really bad. Okay, so all in all, what you want is links from high quality sites that talk about your topic, and your link is in a piece of content that is about your topic. And then Google can basically go out and go, right, this site it's a high quality, it's about this topic, it's all relevant, it talks about RV financing, so we can trust this text that's being sent over there. We don't think that's spam. Alrighty? So that's the very high level image or picture of how off-page optimization works. Alrighty? Okay, let's have a look at the next section, which is basically the new factors that have come as a result of Google trying to weed out the whole backlinking spam. And they're the ones we need to focus our real energy on these days. Alrighty, I'll see you in a sec.